let's record. Oh, it's recording in progress. So I guess it's recording somewhere. So first of all, welcome everyone to the seminar on I wrote a book, now what? Or I wrote a short story or whatever, now what? I'm your host or tour guide for today, Jim Phoenix. I am honestly an award-winning author, believe it or not, and publisher. And I think the publishing business came because I wanted to see more things I like to read out in print, and it wasn't enough. So I think I kind of got my resources downward there. I have studied literature in academic studies. I have a PhD in creative writing from Lancaster University in England. And if you are writing it, I can say there's a debate on if these are even like needed, or MFAs or PhDs are needed in creative writing. And it does help to have critical feedback to your work and really being able to hone your skills on the timeline. So if you can afford it, if you want it, try it out. So first things first, if you are in this seminar or webinar, you probably are writing something, have something written, try to sell it, or maybe got screwed over by someone and you want to avoid it in the future. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of things about the writing in general, how to submit and what to do, what to avoid, where to look for things. And if at any time, if you have questions during this, please, 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 like I said, put them in chat, raise your hand, talk, just unmute yourself is fine. I lecture all day long in my day, my day job. So bring it. With that being said, again, thanks for coming. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. One day we'll do this in person, one day. So if you are a short story writer, the rules are going to look slightly different, because if you're selling your short stories as a one-off type thing, it's going to be slightly different publication rules, sort of. If you're selling them as an anthology, it's going to look more like a novel. Okay. If you're a novel writer, it's a little bit more long-term contract. Think of short stories, taking one short story to one place or one short story to another place is like a first date. You're not exactly getting married, where a novel contract, you're kind of being married. And like all good marriages, as my lawyer, my ex-lawyer, who was my ex-wife, would say, start with a contract. Okay. So we'll get to the contracts and what to do, what not to do, and what to look out for and how to protect your rights. But the first thing you have to do, find a place. Like, where do you find places to submit? Where do you find places to become published? With the last couple of decades, it's actually increased a lot. This is like exponentially gone from very few gatekeepers and stakeholders to some indie people to now like anyone can kind of be a publisher if you put your mind to it. And monetarily, it's not worth it. Monetarily, if you're in for like the getting money, you ain't gonna do it. Lightning in a bottle happens once in a while, but that's about it. So if you are a short story person, and I'm going to share my screen, and as soon as I can figure that out. All right. If you are a short story person, places like Duotrope are your friend. Duotrope is sort of free. They have moved on to a small pay sub if you want to take, keep track of everything and have a bit deeper into their search engine. That is just the matter of they're big and everyone's using them. They needed money just to survive type thing. So Duotrope is great for short stories to find your perfect area. And we can kind of look into this in a bit, but the main part or the main purpose for something like Duotrope is find where you want to submit. There's a list of them. They'll give you the call. They'll say, we are looking for this guideline. This is how much we pay. And there's going to be a small word on pay versus free. It's okay to publish your short story for free. I know Will Wheaton says you can't get off on exposure. Cool, I get that. But when you're first starting out, if you can get paid for it, awesome. Even I will do stuff for free if I like the magazine. I just give it to them. I don't even care anymore. But eventually you should get paid for it. The way to get that is you might have to step up a bit or keep polishing that one story, polishing until you get well enough to be paid. Now, if you're using Dual Trope, that's great. You're going to find a lot of publishers. It's just a small website. I'm not going to go through everything. The same thing with Submittable. Submittable.com is free, and they will have small areas where you can sign up. And some of these things like no deadlines, but it's like a $3 fee. A lot of these are going to be reading fees or some kind of contest fees. Contest free, cool. Why not? Go for it. Reading fee, I'm less cool with. Because they're basically just kind of taking money without any. If it's a contest, you're entering the contest, right? But if it's just for reading, $9.95, at least that's a challenge. I hope that's a contest. You might get something out of it. But you're going to see things like, I thought that was mine. I'm like, there's no way. Okay, we just did a queer anthology. I'm like, I didn't charge $12 for that. Again, this, I don't know whose publication this is, but I'm going to point out, perfect example. Queer anthology, call for submissions, $12.99. Why? It's not a contest. They're not using that entry fee to give you money. Why is that $12.99? You're now paying someone to click on your story, read maybe a sentence of it, and either publish everyone or trash most people. You're not going to get detailed feedback. And even if you were like, I'm going to get detailed feedback, most publishers, if you ask for it, if they're short story publishers, they'll give you detailed feedback if you ask politely. Their first rejection letter just might be a general rejection, but if you ask them politely, they might, they're in it not for the money, except unless you're charging $12.99 to read a story, then you might be in it for the money. So this is a great example of like, there should be no reason why you're paying someone $3.50 to read a poem at all. There should be no reason why. And you see a lot of them are going to be free to submit. Now, this is a manuscript, your poetry book, we're going to read your poetry book for $10. No, skip it. So there's going to be some people, and these might be legit, they might actually be a workable item, but they're mostly for your monies, and you want to keep that hard-earned money in your pocket. In fact, if you're a short story or novel writer, you really shouldn't pay a publisher anything. 0.0 from submission to finished product. $0 goes out of your pocket to theirs. They're your publisher, not your pimp. There's a difference. You are getting in the game. Let's see if no fees. You're getting in the game. It's still no. There's still no. And we'll go over self-publishing in a bit too. But we go through these things, and this is Dual Soma, by the way, which is owned by Dual Trope. They're branching out, and it's a quick little like find opportunities. Click on this, and are we up here? Let me see. This is going to be mostly short story, and if they like pay, whatever it is, you have to pay people for it. But you can get yourself familiar with these things. And if you click on one, let's go single offer cafe. So it tells you what they're looking for in detail. And if it's not, this is okay. A big thing for publishers. This is for a short story collection. It could be for novel. If you're writing a query letter, if you're writing anything else to a publisher, if they say, we're looking for this, and you have something that's like 12,000 words, don't send it to them. 100,000 words, don't send them to them. Don't waste their time. Don't waste their time. If they have some sort of guideline here, give them what has in the guideline. Give them what's in the guideline. All right. And if you have the time and it's something you're really taking your time on, let's see if I can get you a better one. And you're just taking your time and you're just reading through all this, try to see what they've done before. Like, go to their website. Go look at their Twitter. Is this someone you want to do business with? Go to their website. See, let's hope this is a safer work website. Sounded like Garfield. Yeah, okay. So see if there's like, is this looking like a website or it looks like 1995 called, right? If they're looking through submission, they might have some sort of buy copies at the GARF. So how much are the books? How do they give the books out? What is it? What do we have? Look at their staff. Look at their previous selections. See if these all look like real people or just kind of like fake cutouts. And you can, you see this guy 13 times in different places. It's fake. So see what they've done before. Look for it's called looking for comps. Look for people who are comparable to you. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop my share really quick. When you're looking for comps, it could be as simple as going to your library. It doesn't have to be for anything for pay. Go to your library, see what looks like your book. See who the publisher is. Go on the inside journal and go, oh, it's published by these people. Look them up. See if they take solicited material. Some people don't. Some people it's like non-solicited is just the death, and then you have to get an agent and stuff like that. But you want to be able to kind of do your homework and really do yourself a favor by not submitting to places that you have no chance of getting in. Not because you're not good enough. They're just not looking for your thing. I've received great stories that were in fantasy. Like, that's awesome. I don't publish fantasy. Sorry, at that time we weren't at all. So break it down and really try to see what they want. See what they want. And I'm going to share a small, let me see, kind of like a query. So first part, finding the place you need to submit to. It can be an agent. It can be a publishing house for your novel. It can be a publisher for your short story or your poem, right? They're all kind of the same concept, really. Second part, and share my screen again. Here we go. The second part is writing the letter. The first letter you're going to write to them usually is going to be a query letter. A query letter, and I am really big on proper pop-ups, proper formatting for query letters. You really want to, if you met someone at GenCon, say, hi, I met you at GenCon, that's great. You make a personal attachment to it. But you want to be able to describe your story shortly, like in a very a sentence or two, right? You want to be able to tell what the genre is, the word count, and kind of the title is awesome too. And don't think that you're like, oh, I don't want to give things away. Just kind of do it if you have to, really. But sincerely, the biggest irk as a publisher for me, I'm trying to find the perfect example. For me is when people write me query letters, they're basically asking me for money because I'm going to put money into publishing something. And they don't even say dear or hello, like dear, just like, just like, here's my stuff. Like, well, say hi. You're asking me basically for a couple $1,000s right now, and you at least can say hi, right? So when you're doing this, you have to do a sincere, short, brief letter. And absolutely, I won't go over this. Publication credits, honestly, I don't care. I don't think a lot of people care about publication credits unless they're like amazing credits or if they ask for them directly. And if you have self-published books, unless they're doing amazingly well, don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up. Only profession only counts if you are a scientist, biologist, and you're writing a book on biology. If something else, like make them kind of general but personable. Okay, here we go. Dear whomever, you can do a little pitch right here. That's great. I would prefer, I have a story about this. There's a story of 8,000 words, 18,000 words, 80,000 words novel. Because right then, as a publisher, I can see, oh, 96,000 words. Like, oh, that's pushing it. That's pushing it. I don't know. That might be a little bit. If I see 120,000 words, like, oh, that's toxic. Like, I'm backing out at 120. Like, we're good. Like fantasy epics, they can go a bit longer, but really, no, right? So that's a query letter. You're going to send it out, and then you're going to wait, and then you twiddle thumbs. And you wait, and if they allow multiple places to send them to multiple places. Keep track of them, and never send a place that you really don't want to publish with. Like, oh, I just want to see if you accept it. Like, you just wasted someone's time and money. Don't do that. And the publishing world is very small. We do talk, and eventually, like, blacklist is real. And it's not just the website for screenplays. So query letters, and once you get the accepted, woohoo, that's when the contracts start rolling, right? Now, again, rule number one, if they ask for money, you say no. No, thank you. No, hell no, run away. If they switch it up on you and they're like, well, we need a reader's fee. You need to pay for our editors. No, you don't. If you're paying for their editors, just self-publish it. You'd be much happier for it. If you have to pay an editor, pay your own editor. If you have to pay a reader, pay your own readers. Don't pay someone else's bills. Pay your bills. Okay. I'm going to go over a contract really quickly. And I'm going to explain the good parts and the bad parts. I'm going to add stuff in. Any questions so far? All right. Here we go. Share screen options once more again. This is a real contract. It has been used before. And this is like kind of a basic one for an author for novels. So it's a publishing agreement. You know, you put your name, the publisher's name goes here, the author's name goes there, and the work, whatever the work's called. Grant, when you are signing a contract, very, 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 very important, very important. Do not give, and my friend who should have been in this lecture about this, I gave the same advice. They didn't listen. So very important. Do not sell all your rights. You're not selling your rights. You are granting your rights. What's the difference? If I sell you my rights to my story, I've lost my story. If I grant you the rights for a limited time, you're granting the rights, you retain the rights after the limit, the time limit, whatever it is for the contract expire. You retain them. They come back to you. Very important. I have someone who's actually written a book that's being asked about to be optioned into a movie. She does not own rights to her own book that's based on her own life. That's a bad contract. It's a horrible contract. She'll probably go to court and win. But let's avoid it. Let's avoid it ahead of time. So red flags. So far, grant rights, cool. All that means we're saying, I wrote this, I'm giving the publisher an option to publish it. That's it for X amount of time. And right here, print, publish, distribute, sell. Soft cover, hard cover, ebook. That's what you want to do. If the person doesn't have an ebook, if they don't do ebooks at all, ebook should not be in there. If they don't do soft covers or print, print should not be in there. If they don't do audio, audiobooks should not be in there. And if you ever see, or any future, I swear this is actually happened in more than one contract I've seen, or any future technology not yet discovered, run away. Take a flame to that contract. You do not have to go with the first publisher who says yes. Go with the proper publisher. Because what they're doing is they're taking your rights away for your own work. You don't allow that. Do not allow that. If they can't produce something for you, why are you giving them the right to do it? And then territory, this is pretty standard. Throughout the world now, it used to be North America or Europe, but now because of Amazon, it's mostly throughout the world. And it's mostly in the language. It could be English language, French language, Spanish. Don't go for like all languages unless they actually produce translations. Because otherwise, what's the point? And again, you're giving away too many rights. Royalties. Step number one, if you're paying them, it's wrong, which is actually what my friend also signed. So she signed away all of her rights and then pay them a couple $1,000s to do so. So they should pay you. They should pay you. And I'm going to give you an royalties. You're not going to make, oh boy, you're not going to make all that much. If you see a book in the store and you look at the price, take about 50 to 75% off that price. That's how much the store bought it for. Everything else is kind of left over to distributors and to like the publishing company, as you see, 50% of revenues and whatnot. And they might have a clause of it gets better, it gets better within this, it gets better incrementally and better. The reason why is because it takes a lot of money to put a book out. And the publisher is assuming all that cost, they need to make a little bit from the net revenue to even out, and then it gets more author compensation. Now, with that said, some publishers still offer, very rarely now for independents, but they still offer advances. If you get an advance, let me know. It usually means you have a huge following somewhere on social media and they want you, and they're like, this is your third book and you sold amazing, here you go, here's your advance. Otherwise, it's more of a crapshoot than anything. You should get some sort of discount for your authors, for your offered copies. You should get some for free. It should be great. If you have to pay for all your copies at market price, well, what the hell is that? No. Manuscript delivery, this is all pretty standard. It's a lot of business stuff. You're gonna have to say that you own everything in there. Oh, by the way, if you have lyrics or quotes from books or movies or poems that you didn't write, get them out. You don't own those rights. It costs thousands of dollars to use lyrics in a book. You're not Stephen King. I'm not Stephen King. That dude over there is Stephen King. Their publishers will pay for that. So I know it's stuff we learned in school, like, oh, that's great. No, it's not great because it costs money. It costs money. Now, anything that be editing, this is huge. Publishers usually have the right to revise the work. And you as an author really need to go yes or no, and make sure you have like final say, a final draft of yes or no, okay? And there's going to be proofs involved, electronic proofs and actually physical proofs, right? So electronic proofs are easier to see. You go through it, looks good, it looks bad, the font color, the cover, everything. You should have input on the cover, the interiors, everything. You should have input. Maybe not completely, this is my vision. Well, we can't make it sparkle and do diamonds and backflips. There has to be some reasonability. You have to work with your publisher, but you have some input on it. And it's expensive. So yeah, copyright. Oh, copyright. The copyright goes in your name. Your publisher should copyright it in your name in whatever organization you have. I'm in Canada. I'll show you what a Canadian copyright used to look like. They changed them recently. But it should be in your name, and you're granting the rights to the publisher. Remember, you're not saying, cool, here's all of my rights. You're granting them permission. permission. And there should be some sort of cessation of publication because publications aren't forever. And, you know, the rest is just blah, 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 blah. Okay. Any questions with that? By the way, this is a Canadian copyright. This is what it looks like. Kind of cool with the maple leaves. Yeah. I'll share that contact. Absolutely. I'll put it like on a drive and I'll link it to you. Okay. No problem. And if I don't, remind me. I'm old. Yeah, but you should have the copyright. Like this is Christina Bressler's copyright. The owner is Christina Bressler. I have it because it goes to my house and because, you know, I physically have it. I give them a scanned copy of it. If they ever wanted the real one, I'll give it to them anyways. But it's absolutely their copyright. Your publisher should pay for your copyright. Yeah. Yeah, I can give you a link for that too. For great question about reference for writing a synopsis separate from a query letter. Absolutely. It is difficult. Hey, Garfield, there you go. Nice. Shout out. Yeah, it is difficult to, especially the longer novels, to hit it down. And some of the free resources are great. I actually do like to Save the Cat for books and movies now. It originally came out for a movie that helped out a lot with that. And I'll link those as well in chat, in our game chat. But that's it in a nutshell. That's really it in a nutshell. The things you want to watch out for. The things you want to watch out for, anyone who wants to take advantage, if you think it's like too good to be true, it is. If you think that you have to pay money, you should never pay money to a publisher ever. There is one clause in this contract saying that there's a fee if you kind of like say good for edits and then you're like, oh no, I messed up. No, then the publisher has to pay more, so do you. Or if you accidentally get someone sued because you're like ripping off a song title, or not, song titles are fine, song lyrics are not, you know, then yeah, that's an issue. So that is it really, really quickly. And I'm going to show you a couple more things and we're going to wrap it up with some questions. And here we go. Share the screen once again, my friends. So the screen looks like this. I'll move you around here. Kindle, Amazon, KDP. If it comes, if push comes to shove, it's okay. If you're in Canada, by the way, you get free ISBNs if you're in Canada. If you're in the United States, you have to go to Bowker and buy them. Or you can use like Amazon's ISBNs. They're ugly, but whatever, they're free. It's as simple as if you can, and make sure the book cover sells, make sure you have a professional book cover, make sure you have things kind of dialed in, interior wise. And it's kind of like, if you can fill out a form, you too can do this. So that's what I'm saying. If any publisher asks you for money, and here's for Ingram Sparks as well. If any publisher asks you for money for a book, like, well, no, put that money into editing your book professionally. Put that money into getting a professional cover design. Put that money into readers to give you critical feedback so you can edit your book again. And if you use Ingram Spark, do it only when they have coupons. It's not worth it otherwise. You know, Amazon, the printing is about the same nowadays. And absolutely, there are predatory publishers. This is for journals, but there's also publishers for short stories and novels. Anyone who wants money from you, run away. That's like kind of like the nutshell of it. All right, stopping right there for right now. So any other questions at all? We went a little bit over time, had a lot to cover. My main point is, it's your work, protect it. You put that time in to get the novel or the short story in there, protect your stuff. If they want money, no, it's automatically no. If they take away your copyright, that's an automatic no. If they say all future things in the world, what does that even mean? No, just run away, go to someone else. Worst case scenario, put all that money into editor, book cover, typesetter, push it out on Amazon. You own it then, it's all you. Okay, any other questions? All of these questions, all these answers for the synopsis and the video chat and a template, I will put up a link in our GenCon area, and that will be that. Yeah, honestly, for Amazon, okay, two things. If you publish something at all, if you put it on a website, if you put it on Amazon and you try to sell it to someone else later on, as in like a different publisher, they might say no because they want first rights. And you've already used those up. You've already used first rights up. So you have to be very honest. This is like, this appears on my website. This appears on Amazon as a self-published. You have to be pretty honest with them. And if it is self-published, they're gonna want to know how much did you sell? What's your title? If it's on your website, how many hits did it get? Amazon, if like it's like this, unless you're really big, publishers are not going to put your book into like, we'll put them everywhere. No, you won't. You can order them everywhere. Wink. It's most of the books come on print on demand. If you ever see a book of a 9,000, especially in the United States, of a 9, probably can't see the thing, but it's a 9,000 code right there. It means it's not really sold in stores, and that's just a demo. ISBN should have like a 5 code in the United States and followed by 4 digits, and that's like the price. Like 50995 is $9.95. So yeah, Amazon, absolutely. Amazon gets territorial, so you will have to release something on Amazon first, wait for how long, like 3 weeks or 3 months, whatever it is, and then go Ingram Sparks or 2 different ISBNs, say version 2, right? But they will get territorial on you. Yes, that's a great question, Santiago. The answer is maybe. The answer is maybe. Depends how you define small publishers. If you define them as the mom and pop shop who print out, like they did Kickstarter, I guess now you can do Kickstarter, get the money in advance and publish them in crates. They used to do, printers would publish them in crates of 20 or whatever, how big the book was. And you spend like a couple of $1,000, sent to your house, and then you sold them to bookstores and you were a distributor yourself. I think that's going away. I think that's going away. Kickstarter, you can Kickstarter now and go to conventions, so all your books are already sold. I think that will still be around. But if you're talking about small publishers, as in the ones who are using print on demand anyways, I think it's actually better, because the other way, like the true small publishers, like back in the day, I started like 20 years ago with one, and they would have to have a warehouse to house the books, and then distributing, distributor area, and have a printer, and finding that's all expensive. So it's like a yes and a no. I think those types of small publishers, I think Amazon's going to kill them if they're not on a death row already. I think everyone else is using Amazon as a POD, a print on demand, or Ingram Sparks as a print on demand. I think they're going to benefit if Amazon yanks how much they make royalty wise, because I believe they do like a 30-70 rule where you can do a 70% royalty or 30% royalty with Amazon, depending on the distribution. That's the issue, like where it goes from here. But good question. And I think Amazon's even doing Audible now in part of their packaging. So they're being really hard to beat. Good. Any other questions? No. Going once. Going twice. You sure? All right. The power vested in me by no one at all. I thank you for coming to the seminar. I will put the links in our GenCon chat. I bid everyone good day. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Hope it's useful. Give feedback. It's all goodness. Enjoy your weekend. Bye. Get some gaming in.